All right, guys, listen. Wanted to talk about a few things. I got some notes pulled up here, and just we'll start off with how the industry is changing. That is kind of you know pushing us in a direction of what I want to talk about today. Um, and so, what I want to talk about is a money model. So, Alex Hormozy just put out this book called $100 Million Money Models, and a money model is essentially like the way he describes it. He uses examples like when you go to Hertz and you go to buy a car, rent a car, and you go to the checkout lane and there's all these upsells, blah, 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 blah. There's a money model of like the different monetization points of a customer. And so we want to talk about that. We want to talk about, how you guys can participate in that and what the industry has done. So here we go. I'll explain what the biggest businesses have been doing in Medicare and how it's crushing the industry. And now we're meeting intense backlash from carriers and CMS. We will talk about the reason spending more money or time acquiring a Medicare client makes sense when the money model is in play. You'll need less agents, less admin, because you're working on less people, but increasing the revenue per customer for your business. In fact, a solo agent will be able to make a lot more money this way too. And some of you are doing this to some degree, but we're going to add in some, variables, hopefully that really increase this. Now, the cons to the money model is that you're like when I first started and I was, knocking doors on direct mail leads, trying to flip Medicare supplements, joining BNI groups, doing all that. When someone would say, "Hey, can you help me with a term life policy?" I didn't say, "Nope, I only do Medicare supplements." That would have been stupid. At the time, I needed money. So if somebody said, "Can you do something?" and I have a license to do it, I would do it. I would figure it out. I wouldn't say, "I don't know how to do that." Well, shit, I didn't know how to do Medicare supplements before I did one. So, so the money model, is in play there. I want to do everything that I have a license to do. Somebody came to me and said, "I need disability income insurance." You guys know you can sell that, right? So, the money model is in play, but I want to also create a process around the money model, not just like whatever someone asked me for. And so when we go to acquire a customer, you can spend more because, in a lot of you I know are not playing the cost per acquisition game. But if you were playing the cost per acquisition game, we've seen it plummet in recent years as we've seen the lifetime value of a customer to each agency. There's my puppy dogs. As we've seen the lifetime value of the customer decrease. So the good news, so what happened was all these groups that just said, "I want to go hit this infinite money glitch," went out and they said, "I need to continue to write as many policies as possible." And when you're selling free plans, $0 plans that give away money, it became a borderline a gimmick. It started to make a joke out of our industry. We saw it with the Joe Namath stuff. We saw it with the JJ Walker stuff. But then just off of just the countless, Facebook ads, etc. And while I understand that the majority of our following online are individual agents and brokers in spaces that aren't participating in that, it really, really hammered us, right? And so, you know, but it became this like, I'm going to chase more and more Medicare Advantage plans. Oh, because of the renewals, which is kind of funny because our Medicare supplement customers are worth way more without having lifetime renewals, just because we weren't getting churned so much, right? Now, my belief is the majority of the churn in Medicare Advantage comes from the marketing. And so if you're marketing for food cards, of course, you're going to have a lot of churn. You're also going to have more complaints. That's 75% of its marketing. To me, 20% of it is actually in the sale, because there is because most salespeople are not doing a bad job, but there are some that are doing a really poor job. And so then that can create an issue, namely when they're not adequately telling people that they're changing their healthcare plan. That's a big deal. But as a reaction to this, carriers do things. And so one of the things that they've done, and this is not just a reaction to this, it's a reaction to a large, issue, bigger issue. And the bigger issue is, our star ratings are impacted, but star ratings are impacted due to CTM volume, and CTM volume comes from SEP misuse. And so now SEP misuse is getting, policed heavily. So second and third quarter of next year, I expect a lot of telephonic groups to not do business at all. We've already seen multiple dozens of call center terminations this year, some very large ones by multiple carriers. And so I do believe we're in this, rebound to quality over quantity, where they don't need the applications. I mean, admittedly, I don't think United Healthcare cares to grow at all this year. They just want to, maintain, or they have a specific amount that they want to drop, but their goal is to become more solvent, is to start pushing back towards quality. Humana, by the same accord, wants to grow certain high star ratings, but not at the expense of high CTM ratios that are going to make their 7617 plans not have high star ratings. Now, we could be sometimes, where we say things like, hey, sometimes these carriers paved the way for this behavior and now they're punishing people for doing it. And I feel that to some degree, but the thing is, the rules are the rules the whole time, regardless. Just because you're getting away with something doesn't mean that it wasn't against the rules. And so now that they're enforcing them, there's pros and cons to it. But I think long term it is good for the MA space. And I don't want this turned into completely a compliance call, because it's not. But I wanted to hit a couple of things. Like Humana, one of the things that they did recently was unleash the termination, automatic termination for people who have 68% or below placement, or not placement. What do they call it? Accretion, which means the app actually goes into effect like after the effective date, plus a 5 per 1,000 CTM ratio. So technically, you could have 10 enrollments. 5 of them go into effect and 5 don't, and you could have 1 complaint, and boom, you meet that. You could have 20. It doesn't have to be high volume for this to happen. Now, or if you had 10 total CTMs. Now, this is a case where someone could have 500 Humana plans written in a year, but if they had 10 CTMs, whether founded or not, automatic termination. They've been having great meetings with us. We've had some pretty in-depth meetings with Humana, and we're working on making sure we have the most up-to-date scripting, everything that we can for our telesales groups. And they have been very much cracking down on the SEP misuse. I think going into next year, it's going to be a very, very low tolerance for DST misuse. They're really going to be having to get the customers to really qualify for DST, which is a great thing. Aetna, some guidance says you have to be approved to sell over the phone now. We're exploring this. So there's definitely some statements and training. I had some people in our inner circle group asking about it right now, or this morning. Do you have to have a call center, not necessarily contract, but have your contract approved for telesales? And we have groups that we've gotten approved for telesales with Aetna. We're trying to see where the rubber meets the road on that. We're also seeing a crackdown of use of offshore VAs. In particular, it is possible that some carriers interpret this as zero tolerance offshore anything. So our previous understanding was it was more zero tolerance of them accessing systems like Sunfire Marks, your CRM, or carrier portals. But now it may be even further than that. We've had some good meetings with Cigna and their sales integrity team. They've been auditing at the agency and agent level, so kind of identifying agency malpractice versus agent malpractice. Same thing with the SCP crackdown for them. WellCare, same thing with SCP crackdown. We've had some regular meetings with them. They're also looking at agency and agent level, and they have made some strides in stopping categorizing a feature of a call that wasn't part of the original complaint as a found complaint. So let's say someone complained and said, I never talked to them. I never gave them permission to enroll me. The call was really good, but he says best in the call. Now, boom, I'm going to make Seth a co-host. He asked me to do that. if I can, said Rick. Participants, not chat. Here we go. Participants. Attendees said, allow me to promote you to a panelist. I don't know what that means. Don't allow me to make you a co-host, brother. Was able to promote to panelists. Maybe that'll work. So back off it, Augie. UHC is an outlier here, by the way. We haven't had a lot of compliance issues with UHC. I won't name the other carrier, but one of the other main carriers that we write just as much with as UHC, we've had 5 times as many CTMs and carrier allegations across our distribution as we have with UHC. I don't really understand how that is, other than I believe UHC's customer service is doing a better job not getting complaints and grievances lodged, which we do appreciate. So SCP crackdown does continue with UHC as well. How do complaints arise? Like I said earlier, I believe it's 75% marketing, 20% sales, and 5% follow-up. Now, there's some people that are like, oh, it's all in the follow-up. Well, if you have really high quality marketing, yeah, you're not going to complain if you stay in touch with your customers. But if you're having really low quality marketing and a good sale but no follow-up, yeah, it's going to be an increased likelihood of complaint regardless, just because of the nature in which you put that person on there. Now, if you have poor marketing practices and good sales and good follow-up, you could still reduce the complaints, but it's an uphill battle. So anyway, it's easy for people to believe that follow-up is where to reduce those complaints. Let's see, distribution, I believe, is rebooting back to local, face-to-face, and extreme high-quality telesales. Several dozens of call centers have been terminated with multiple carriers. The carriers aren't looking for quantity right now. I'm reading over some of the stuff I've already gone over organically. The ones that want to grow want gradual quality growth that doesn't jeopardize star ratings. That's their primary focus right now. Growing with plans that are profitable and maintaining a star rating that keeps that profitability. I believe the profitability of an agent and organization is going to start to center around product diversification for the foreseeable future. I think this is stabilizing for the Medicare Advantage niche long term, but of course it takes some of the current profitability out of people that relied heavily on MA or PDP commissions. 2 areas we have always done well is Medicare supplements and ancillary health. So of course, when we start talking about product diversification, one of the first things is ancillary health. We're cross-selling ancillary health. We cross-sell we work with Medicare supplements, which a lot of people unfortunately haven't. And some of the Medicare supplement folks haven't worked with MA. The truth is, being able to do all of that is pertinent. But I'm talking about a little more than that. So another echelon of that is ACA, short-term medical indemnity health, or the under 65 market. You're already talking to Medicare beneficiary. How many people are they related to that are under 65? How can I get those referrals? How can I increase the value of this lead? So if I had a $500 cost per acquisition on a T65 Medicare supplement policy, how do I make it more valuable right away? Cross sales, hitting the other markets, getting referrals off of them for other Medicare beneficiaries, plus referrals of individual health in the family. Another, life, whether term, final expense, guaranteed universal life, all of that, even IULs to some degree, but for the most part, term, final expense. When I was first marketing myself as an agent, I would get asked about life all the time. And so I started learning how to write it. I wrote my first year, I wrote like 25 term life policies just because it got into a warm market thing. It was so easy to bring up, especially when I was in BNI groups. It was such an easy thing to write. If you wait until this stuff wait until you understand this stuff completely. So like I was talking about earlier, somebody coming to me like, I need an $800,000 term life policy. I didn't know how to write one, but like, yeah, I can absolutely help you with that. Okay, now let me go figure it out. Do I have to talk to an IMO? Do I have to talk to an agent that I know? Do I have to Google some stuff? Do I write it on Chat GPT? What do I do? Do I have any appointments already? Do I need to get an appointment? Whatever, I'm going to figure it out. Let me get you some quotes. But by far the most profitable way to cross-sell and diversify that we have found, the most profitable, is annuities. Not because we write more annuities than other stuff. But if I write an ancillary health policy, let's say I write a dental, vision, and hearing policy at, just give you some basic math here. Let's say the average person is at something like a 40% commission, or 45, so let's say 40 on a $40 a month dental, vision, hearing premium times 12, it's $192. Somebody has a $100,000 401k rollover, or CD, or another annuity maturing, or trapped into some sort of low yield thing that they'd be better off to even eat a surrender charge and move. And you get them into a street level indexed annuity product, you're probably going to make $7,000 off of it, right? So obviously, huge upside. So let's see. The most difficult part of that, though, is always navigating. So training internal agents on annuities. When you would go to an annuity DGA, a group that was like, they used to pandering to financial advisors, they start to talk way over your head, because they are talking about, well, you need this carrier for this, and this carrier for this, and this carrier for the lifetime income benefit rider, and this one for a high cap rate, and this one, and it gets very complex. The truth is, most people are going to fit into a couple of categories. Okay, a couple of categories. So you don't have to get super confused. What we found is taking a Medicare agent and moving to annuities requires one core carrier, and then when that isn't a fit in the future, we can branch out from there. And so we haven't really ever went out and just marketed annuities to, even though we're doing them in-house, we haven't marketed them for distribution to people, because the contracting was cumbersome, the proof of production was cumbersome, all of that, the learning curve was cumbersome, and we didn't really have a carrier or anyone that could rely on to really help us with it. But we have started working diligently with Heartland National once they dropped their multi-year guarantee annuity a few years ago, and were kind of a rate buster for the multi-year guarantee annuity market. We started working with them. We were working with other annuities in-house, but the experience with people like Todd Weiss, who I'm going to bring up here in just a second, as well as their entire team, they're so quick to communicate. They're so fast to respond on service. They're so fast to respond on marketing help. They're fast to get on the call and explain things, do webinars, do anything like that. And that's made it extremely easy to work with them. They're not some sort of monstrous carrier by size, but they're just like heart and soul type of people that really want to grow the organization. And they have huge financial backing. They just recently had a big financial backer come on board that took a minority position, which I won't speak too much on because I don't know when they want to announce that. But it really is going to strengthen their financial position. And with the launch of their new index annuity, which some of you may have called wind of it, they've built a product that is it's going to be dynamic, especially, for people who are like, I need one carrier that I can understand. And that's why I wanted to bring Todd up here, so I could get you guys to understand this, so you guys could start to participate in this. It's like what we found is about 1 in 10 of our customers minimum, we can get either a multi-year guaranteed annuity or an indexed annuity. About 1 in 10. Now, in the same time, we aren't slowing down on cross-selling cancer, heart attack, and stroke. We're not slowing down on any of those. We're not sacrificing the typical individual health or ancillary or Medicare sales to go after annuities. We're just layering it on. But one sale in 10 customers is huge. So I'm going to bring Todd up here and let me see if we can get the slideshow. I don't know if Todd,
I'm here. Can you hear me?
I can, yes.
Perfect. Let me share my screen. Let me know if this works.
Perfect. There we go. Perfect.
Okay.
Well,
thanks for having me on here. You got a lot of agents here, and we're happy to be one of your core carriers. I think you're going to like working with us. I know you have, and so I'm looking at chat. Seems like a lot of agents have sold our stuff in the past. Hopefully, you'll continue doing that and sell our Fiat too.
Yeah, I want to give a little quick story with Todd. So I met Todd like 8 or 9 years ago on a boat in Turks and Caicos. after going on an incentive trip with a previous IMO that he worked for. And Todd has worn many hats, but probably one of the most impressive things he did is he took that IMO from virtually zero or like trace elements of annuity production to $500 million a year in annuity production at an IMO level. Previously, what would have been considered a very Medicare supplement focused IMO, who's now sold and is a partner of another group that I won't name, but anyway, worked there, and then obviously he's had a long time relationship with Chris McDaniel, who's the primary owner right now of Heartland National. And at some point, it became obvious as Heartland National was getting into the annuity space that they needed a go-getter. And Todd is one of the most reliable and eager to get on and train on anything that you ask him to, people that I've ever worked with in the IMO space or carrier space. So I'll let you take it away, Todd. I'm just going to mute myself. I might pop in and ask a question or something. But
And Justin, I think you're missing the time that you came to Kansas City and me and Mike Manning were dressed up as Buddy the Elf and Santa Claus.
that's true. That's true. Mike Manning, it gave me some of that Mike Manning love. That was the first time I met him. So
That was a good time.
awesome.
Okay, guys. Well, thanks for having me on here. I usually don't always have my camera on because I'm looking at 3 screens, but hopefully this I don't distract you here. But this is a presentation I put together because my background was Medicare. I got in the business 2004 selling Medicare products. And so I'm designed this for Medicare agents. So you guys might know us already, but we started out doing Medicare supplements, hospital indemnity plans, and then we recently just launched a home health care plan, and Justin had his hands in it, and we asked him a lot of questions, and he kind of helped us build our cancer, heart attack, and stroke plan. So if you guys aren't selling that, that's a brand new plan. The home health care is brand new. Our hospital indemnity is pretty good, but we're going to build a new one. We're always going to be innovating and keeping up with time. So we are going to build a brand new hospital plan. We thought we could launch it before AEP of this year, except the FIA kind of got in front of that. So hopefully in 2026, we'll have a brand new hospital indemnity plan. And we came out with a MIGA about 1.5 2 years ago. We're actually building a MIGA 2.0. So we have a fixed index annuity now, but we'll probably have version 2.0 and 3.0. We're always going to be innovating and finding more things to help you, the agent, out. And just like Justin said, we want to be, I'm an agent, the owner of the company is an agent, the president of the company is an agent. Almost every marketer here is an insurance agent. We sell, we know what it's like being in the field. So we want to help you out. In addition, all the people that answer their phones, they used to be right outside my office. Now they're upstairs, but we do weekly trainings with all the girls so they can answer your questions. They can help you out. You call us up, you get a human being. We don't put you on hold for 30 minutes. Hi, how can I help you? If there's a hold time, we hire someone new. In addition, you'll all get my cell phone, and like whoever marketer, you might be Bella or Kim or even Mike Manning, you'll have a marketer assigned to you. You can text them. I don't know what other company will let you text the insurance company on the weekend and get an answer. We want to be here to help you guys out. All our IT is in-house too. So we want to be quick and nimble on a lot of things. So with that, here's what we're going to talk about today. I'm going to go over the opportunity. Can you sell a FIA? How FIA works? Our unique things about our FIA, how to write, and then we'll do some Q&As at the end of this thing. So the opportunity, everybody here on this call is selling Medicare, right? We all know there's 10,000 people turning 65 every day. But what you might not know is the average retirement account's around $270,000. We're looking for retirement accounts. That is the main thing. And yes, you might be talking to someone that has 0. Well, that means the next person might have 500, or the next 3 people have 0. That next person might have 1 million. Average is around 270. That means there's roughly $1 trillion every year coming out of 401k type of plan. So 401k, 403b, just retirement accounts in general. About $1 trillion a year is coming out of retirement accounts, and they need to put it somewhere safe. And most of those clients, their fear is, hey, I worked my whole life to save up for $1 million. Now I don't want to lose it. Their fear is losing this big pile of cash they saved up. And speaking about that, here's why I love fixed index annuities, because when you put the money in an FIA, they can't lose a penny. They can't. Let's say they did save up $100,000 for easy math's sake. And I don't know if everyone on this call was paying attention to the stock market. Last Friday took a big old dump. Like last Friday was horrible for stocks. Like every stock was down. You might have lost 10, 15% one day, depending on what stocks you own. Well, let's just say you lose 20%. We go in a recession or something like that. Well, you saved your whole life to have 100,000 bucks. That was your goal in retirement. I want $100,000. Well, now you lost 20% overnight. What are you going to do? If you lose 20% right here, it's going to take 25% to break even. So you had 100,000, it went to 80. 80's got to grow more than 20%. 20% of 80 is only 16. So you got to make more up than you lost to break even. And the worst time to lose money is when you have to take money out to live on. So now the money you took out to pay your rent or you pay your bills, you can't leave it in there. You don't have time for that to come back. So people love fixed index annuities because you can never lose a penny. And at least with our products, there's no fees whatsoever. So if someone did lose money, I bring this up. I take things to the extreme sometime when I'm in a home. So maybe I'm talking to this client, hey, client, you saved up, you got your $100,000. If you lost 20% overnight, what would you do? You know, are you going to cut 20% out of your budget? Are you not going to go and have coffee with people after church? Are you not going to go buy your kids' Christmas presents now or your grandkids' Christmas presents because you got to cut out something? Okay, you don't want to cut out anything? Okay, well then are you going to go back to work? Are you now going to go to Walmart, be a greeter to make up that 20% you lost? My clients are always like, well, I don't want to cut out anything. I want to go back to work. Perfect. Then let's protect your retirement. Let's make sure that your 100,000, your million, your $500,000 is protected and you'll never lose a penny going forward. So that's the main selling point of annuity right there. So it's not about finding new leads. It's all the people you're talking to. People are turning 65. They're switching from work insurance to a Medicare Advantage and a hospital indemnity plan or a Medicare supplement or whatever. It's a great time to transition about their money also. So you don't need to spend thousands of dollars on annuity leads. Medicare is the best lead for annuities. All you have to do is, do you guys have an old retirement account? And everybody's a potential sale. It's not just your leads in the field. When you guys go to Thanksgiving, you might meet your uncle you haven't seen in years. Hey, uncle, what do you do for a living? I forgot. Well, I'm doing this now. Now, what did you do before this? Oh, well, I was a police officer for 20 years. Oh, well, what'd you do with your retirement account? It's still there. Hey, I'm glad we met. I roll over retirement accounts into IRAs. So it's not just your leads of the field. It's anybody you meet. Here's a true story. I went to a kid's birthday party. Okay. And the son knew I was in insurance and he was, hey, go talk to my mom. She's getting on Medicare. So I started talking to her. She goes, oh, I already got my high deductible plan G. Now, Justin, can you tell me what maybe the commission might be on a high deductible plan G for that agent?
Ooh, probably $100 a year, $150 a year, something like that.
Okay. So he made a couple dollars. I made $36,000 by rolling over her retirement account at the school. So he walked over, he made the tiny bit of change, but he didn't look for the $36,000 opportunity. So now when her plan G goes up in price, who's probably going to replace that? Do you think she's going to call that guy that wrote it to her or the guy that's protecting $500,000 of her money?
Probably you.
So, and the reason I'm saying this is because if you agent are not going out there and protecting money, someone else might come in behind you and then squeeze you out of the home. People care more about their money than they do who helped them out on a 30-minute presentation on a high deductible plan G. So you just have to ask everybody. You're already in the home. They already trust you. They already like you. You just got to ask everybody, do you have a retirement account? And that's people you meet, that's your leads. You just incorporate this every day. Like true story. Like I got windows behind me. One of my windows was leaking. Maintenance guy was coming in here. We started talking. He's like, oh man, I had a heart attack a little while ago. I'm going to retire soon. I'm like, oh, you on Medicare yet? He's like, well, I got Part A. I don't have Part B yet. So I'm going to help him out with his Medicare. In addition, the guy's got $200,000 in his work 401k. Start talking about what I do. He's like, man, when I retire, I'll come back and I'll talk to you about Medicare and retirement. Perfect. Just talking to the maintenance guy. $200,000 potential sale there plus Medicare. Like sales are everywhere. You just got to ask everybody, do you have an old retirement account? That's all you got to do. Now you might be asking yourself, well, what does it take? Can I sell a FIA? Well, it's easier than you think. We're not securities. You don't need to get your securities license. No Series 6 or 7 or all that security stuff. You don't need a security license. Okay. This is not stock market. There's not investments. We're putting insurance on their money. People have insurance on their phone. I bet a lot of people have insurance on their phone right now. You got insurance on your car. You got insurance on your house. We're just putting insurance on your money. A fixed index annuity is not investment. It is insurance. It's part of life insurance. So one, you need your life license. Okay. If you sell life, you probably have E&O insurance already. You need anti-money laundering. We can't let the terrorists win. So you just got to take a course, AML, no terrorists. The only thing people on this call probably need is a 4-hour NAIC suitability course. And I kind of listed places where you can take these on there. Just take them wherever you take your CE credits. It's just a CE place. I use Web CE for everything because it's easy. I just go to one spot. But you can take it wherever you take your CE stuff. It's a 4-hour NAI suitability class. And it's you just take it to your resident state, and it's good for all 50. Florida, I don't think requires it. Texas is 8. I think California is 8. So it could vary, but for the most part, you take it once. It's a 4-hour class. You're good to go. Then you watch our product training. Now, I'm an agent. I write about $1 million to $2 million a year in annuities. And before this, as Justin said, I worked for another IMO. I had 50 different carriers. I know doing product training is sometimes a pain. I know doing all your Medicare Advantage product training is time consuming. It takes a lot of time. You just watch a quick video for me. You go to our website, you click play. It's a 3-minute MAGA video. It's a 17-minute FIA video. You can do 2 products in 20 minutes with us. That's it. There's no move the car around and then click each house and all that stuff, that you've done for Medicare Advantage. You click play, you take some notes, you click I agree. That's your product training. Then I'm always up here to help you out. Justin's here to help you out. We got marketers here to help you out. So anytime you need something, just call us up. We'll teach you one-on-one. Okay. So let's go on here. So let's talk about our FIA or how FIAs work in general. Generally, people have a pile of cash. Okay. Retirement account, or, they just got cash. They give it to us. You, the agent, you write the policy. What do we do with it? Do we invest in stocks and bonds? No, we just do bonds. We don't put anything risky. We're not buying Amazon or Facebook or Tesla or Bitcoin. We're not doing that. We buy boring bonds. Okay. Those boring bonds create a yield. We take out your commission. We take out our expenses. Everything else goes right into the contract as the fixed account. So it doesn't matter if the market's up or down. The client gets this fixed account. You already got paid. Your commission does not affect how the client's return does. Client have money. They give it to us. We buy boring bonds. We take out your commission, our expenses from those bonds, and the rest goes right into the contract for the client. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense here. Now, what's cool about our stuff is there's no health questions. So people can have cancer. They can buy our product. We just want to make sure they have cash outside of the annuity, and we call that suitability. That's why you have to take that 4-hour class. The 4-hour class boils down to don't take all the client's money, because one downside of annuity is you don't have access to 100% of it. It's a contract. You can access some of your money, just not all of it. So we have to make sure they got a pile of cash outside of this for emergencies, vacations, fund money, bills. We leave them a pile of cash outside of this. But the core benefits of an annuity is if the market tanks, they just get a zero. People say zero is your hero. You won't lose a penny if the market tanks. There's no fees with our product. A lot of companies have fees. You might hear variable annuities. They have 4, 5, 6% fees sometimes. We don't do variable. Variable annuities are stock investment stuff. You need a stock broker's license to do that. Fixed index annuities, all you need is a life license. And then the client's growth is tied to like the S&P or NASDAQ. Okay. If you guys got questions, type them up here. Happy to help you out. Or Justin, you see things, please interrupt me, jump in here. Happy to answer things as we go. So one thing that makes our product different than other companies is we have a thing called level option pricing. So the client has the money, they give it to us, we buy bonds, we take out your expenses, commission, and whatever else goes right into that contract. We don't blend our bonds. So bond rates are an all-time high right now. So right now our fixed rate's 4.5%. So you buy our product, the client's getting 4.5%. The goal is to give them 4.5 for all 10 years. What a lot of companies do is they blend the bonds. So let's say bonds go down to 2 or 3% next year. Well, they blend today's bonds and next year's bonds and the year after that, the year before that. They blend all their bonds together, and that lowers the rate for your client. The clients really don't know what their rates are going to be next year. So we think by doing level option pricing, it's a little more upfront, more transparent. Hopefully, it gives the client a better chance for growth by being consistent over the 10 years. Now, if you want to sell annuity, write this down, take some notes. This is my elevator pitch. I present this to everybody. I don't do it during a Medicare Advantage appointment, but my second appointment, I always say over style. I always say all my clients retire with style. What I'm doing here is I'm selling the benefits of an annuity without saying the words annuity, because annuity sometimes scares people. They think of variable, they think of losses, they think of fees. We don't have any of those, but sometimes we have to overcome those. So I say all my clients retire with style. The safety, your principal is protected from market downturns. You never lose a penny. Tax deferral. People are afraid they've got all this money, this $500,000 in their 401k. Well, I don't want to move it because I don't want to pay taxes on it. No, the money transfers over tax deferred. If it's traditional IRA, it's traditional annuity. Roth IRA, Roth annuity. We just transfer it over the same. There's no taxes on the rollover or transfer. And once the money comes to us, we grow it tax deferred. Maybe someone maxed out their 401k or maxed out their IRA. You, an insurance agent, can dump $100,000 into a fee if you want to, and that money will grow tax deferred even though it's non-qualified. So I saw someone in the chat earlier ask, do we take qualified or non? Yes, we take qualified, we take non-qualified, so we take Roth, traditional, or just non-qualified apps for our annuities. Now the yield is linked to an index, so the SP 500 or NASDAQ, and usually I say 4 to 7% is the average a client should return. Now, could they get more than that? Yes, they'll never get less than 0, but 4 to 7% is a realistic average over the last 20 years of me doing this. Some clients might get more, some might get less, but 4 to 7 is realistic. Now, L stands for liquidity. Once again, they have access to some of their money, just not all of it. I'll go over that here in the next slide, but we usually give you 5% free per year, and then we have a bunch of other benefits like critical illness. You have cancer, we'll give you 25%, which I think we're the only company that does that. Then lastly, E for style is estate advantages. Any money in the annuity will avoid probate court and go directly to the beneficiary. Now you might be like, well, that's not that big of a deal. Well, people buy trusts all the time for the estate advantages. And you might like, well, my clients don't have enough to go to probate court anyway. Most states, if you have more than $75,000 of assets, will go to probate court. 75,000. That's including your house and your cars. I don't think anyone probably on this call, if they own a home, has a home that's worth less than $75,000. A couple cars could be that nowadays. If you own more than $75,000 of assets, you'll probably go to probate court. Well, any money in the annuity will automatically avoid probate and go directly to your beneficiary. I've sold a few annuities just because of that. Probate takes years to go through sometimes. They take money out of your estate to pay for court. So skip all that. Any money in these programs will avoid probate court and go directly to the beneficiary. Now, let's talk about ours. Why ours is a little bit different here. So we go from 0 to age 85. So anyone can get this, okay? We do a 10-year product right now. We might go shorter and longer in the future, but right now it's a 10-year product. Minimum's only 5K. Same with our MIGA. 5K is the minimum. Other companies have weird things for it. Once again, we try to make it easy for you, the agent. 5K is the minimum. And right now, $1 million is the max before home office approval. But just as Justin said, some of those equity partners coming in, I'm trying to see if I can raise that before home office approval. We've taken 1.5, 1.8, 2 million on the MIGA. So we take them, I got to do some couple extra hoops to jump through. But if you got a big case, let me know. I'll see if we can get it approved for suitability or approved to take. Here's all the states we're in right now. Those gold, kind of orangish states are approved in. They're part of the compact. If you see here, South Carolina, Florida are slightly different colors. Those are not part of the compact. So we have been approved in those 2 states last week, but I need to see what difference is. So all the gold states are the same exact product in all those states. South Carolina, Florida will be like 2% different. And I don't know what the differences are quite yet. But if you're in one of those states, it is approved. and we should have all those details out later on this week. And once again, this product just launched last week. So we are in week 2 of our brand new product out there, guys. So here's our product in a nutshell. We got our growth product. We have 3 versions. Growth. Growth is the highest growth, the highest caps, the highest returns for your client. That age is 0 to 85. Then go down here, max. This is our bonus product, 25% bonus. You give me $100,000, you get 125. You die tomorrow, your wife, your kids get 125. 25% bonus. It's not income. It is a 25% bonus up front. The older the client is, the lower that goes. So 25 goes down to 16, 10, and then the bonus is not available at age 81 to 85, but you can still get the growth product here at this one. Then, since we had the high bonus and the no bonus, we just kind of did a blend of the two, and we called that boost. So it gives you a little bit of bonus and still good upside. The bigger the bonus, the lower your caps and PRs are, the lower your gains are. So there's a trade-off. Highest growth, no bonus. Biggest bonus, less growth. Still good growth, but just not the most growth. So hopefully that makes sense there for everybody. Our bonus is vested. So that means if they cancel the contract 100%, they only get part of their bonus. So if they cancel the contract in year 1, they get 0 of their bonus. They cancel it 100% in year 2, they get 10%. So that bonus slightly vests over time. Sure, it's a 10-year contract. Year 11, they walk away. They get the full bonus, the full growth, the full everything at the end of 10 years. Okay?
And of course, death.
100% on death. Yep.
100% on death. Yeah.
So if you want to get your money linked and you want to get some growth, you could put it in the fixed rate. The fixed rate's declared every year. Right now, the fixed rate's 4.5. That could change, but for your clients that sign up today, we're hoping we give them 4.5 for all 10 years of the product. Now, we don't know what that's going to get us. Just like gas prices change every day, just like the price of eggs and bread and everything changes all the time. I don't know why, it goes up and down a little bit. The caps and the PR rates will slightly change every single year. But right now we have the SP 500, which everyone knows is the 500 best stocks in America. But I fought hard to get NASDAQ. I love tech stocks. You know, Google, Facebook, Amazon, Tesla, NVIDIA, all those are in the NASDAQ 100. So the NASDAQ 100 is global. It's not just US. It's the best. It's NASDAQ picks their 100 favorite tech stocks for the most part in the world. And I think that's a great index. I'll dive into that here a little more, but that is a great index right there. You get 50% of the NASDAQ. So when tech goes up, you get 50% of it. When tech goes down, you get a 0. That is amazing in my opinion. I think everyone's going to love that. Now, people do like these things to be called volatility controls. Just what's the word? Volatility control. It's designed to control the volatility or control the ups and downs. So we put a volatility control of the SP 500 called the Market Agility 10. Then we have the NASDAQ volatility controlled also. So those should be a little bit smoother returns for your client because they are designed to control the craziness or control the volatility. So here's our rates right now. And this is rates of 1014 in case you're watching this later. These can change all the time, so always go to our website to find our newest rates. But our growth product, 4.5% is the fixed rate. That gets you a cap of the SP 500 to 10 or participation rate of 50%. If you look at NASDAQ, 10%, 50%. It's the exact same for NASDAQ as it is the SP 500. I think NASDAQ probably has more potential growth. That's just me. People might like the SP 500. It's the gold standard. You can do a blend of both. You could do 25, 25, 25, 25. You can mix and match. You can put some in the fixed rate, some in NASDAQ, cap, PR. You can pick what you want. Now down here, once again, guys, these are our volatility controls. HWM, so high watermark. I'm bringing back the high watermark strategy, which is a little different. I'll show you that here in the next couple slides. But let's look at the cap here, though, the SP. 10% for the growth. Boost has a 12% bonus. It lowers your cap to 7.5. That's the trade-off. You want a bonus, your caps are less. You want that max bonus of 25%, now your cap goes to 6 or 5. 6% for NASDAQ, 5% for the S&P. So the bigger the bonus, the lower your caps and PR rates are. But I can jump on a one-on-one and go over all this stuff with you if you want. Here's an analogy I like to use all the time when I'm in the field. Okay.
Quick, Todd, I have a question real quick on cap and par. Is it when it's 30% participation rate, 5% cap, or let's say whichever one, is it the lesser of the two or the greater of the two? Like,
It's one or the other.
so you get to pick.
Yes. So if it's a cap of 6, and I'll go over this in a couple slides here, but at cap of 6, let's say the market does 12, you get everything up to 6. Or let's say our participation rate's 50%. It's uncapped. If the market does 50%, you get half of 50, you get 25. If it does 30, you get half that, you get 15. We're not combining a cap and a PR like some companies do. The cap, you get everything up to the cap, or the PR rate, you just get that percentage of the market gains. So here's an analogy I like to use in the field a lot. It's the cow and milk analogy. I tell my clients, think of your principal like a cow. Okay, your cow makes milk, or the milk is the fixed rate. Okay, we know we're getting a fixed rate every single year, or we're going to gamble that milk or trade that milk for potential upside. If the index is down that year, we just spilt some milk. We know we'll have more milk next year. We never slaughter the cow. A lot of companies have fees and they eat into your principal. Well, we will never eat into your principal. You know your principal is always 100% protected. It's going to make milk next year. Either take the milk or take the 4% fixed rate, 4.5% fixed rate, or we're going to trade that fixed rate for potential upside with a cap, a PR, or a high watermark. So here's the 3 ways we measure it. Cap, participation rate, high watermark. Okay, let me dive into these. And once again, we don't blend them. It's either a cap or a PR. It's not both. So here's how we explain a cap. We're going to look at NASDAQ here. Think of it as a cup, and we fill this cup up with water. Probably should have made this milk since I've been talking about a cow here. But you fill a cup up with water. If you have a cap at 8, even though the index did 14, you get everything up to the cap. You get everything up to 8%. That second year, same cap at 8. Well, the index only did 6. You get everything up to 6. Third year, index was down. You just get a 0 that year. Okay. Here's how participation rates work. It's like you got a bigger cup. The cup did 14%. You got a 15 or 14% gain, and you're getting 15% participation rate. You get half of that. So whatever the gains are, you get half. Did 14, you get 7. Second year, did 6, you get 3. Next year, it did 0. It was a negative. You just get a 0 that year. And this is why I like NASDAQ a lot, because when it's down big. But then when it's up big. NASDAQ's been up 30, 40, 50% numerous times. Imagine getting half of 50% locked in. That's amazing for your clients here. Now, the high watermark is something unique and different. Not really different, but it's been a long time since we've done this. It was big in the 80s and companies got away with it. But I think right now, with everything going on in the world, the high watermark is a good strategy. So think of it literally just like a flood. You know, if your basement flooded, you could see a line on the wall in your basement, how high the watermark was. That's a high watermark. We just measure the highest point. So let's look at a real example here of the market agility 10. Starting value right here. Here's when the client bought the policy. Their 1 month anniversary, we measured it. We measured the 2 month anniversary, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 was the high mark, and then 9, 10, 11, 12. So a true PR rate, they would have got their number based on this number right here. But we lock in their gains at the highest number. So we measured 8, so we're going to lock it in right there, and they get their percentage of it. So think of the high watermark kind of like playing baseball. Would you rather have 1 at bat and you're trying to hit a home run? Or would you like to get 12 at bats where you can get singles and doubles and triples? You might hit a home run. It's probably a little bit less likely because you're mainly going for smaller, steady growth on the high watermark than your big home run swing. So you're going to have more singles and doubles, more chances for your client to get a credit. They'll probably almost never get a 0 in the high watermark strategy. That'll be really cool. So if your client's afraid of seeing zeros, high watermark's your gain. If the client wants the best growth possible, I probably do NASDAQ PR. So let's kind of go on about our liquidity. I said you can access some of your money, but not all your money. That is one of the concerns with annuities. So year 1 with our product, there's 0 withdrawals. So if your client needs money year 1, have them take out money before it comes to us. If they need their RMB, take it out before it comes to us. If they need $10,000, write the annuity for $10,000 less. Leave them some cash year 1. Because there's no withdrawals year 1. That allows us to get these high caps and these high bonuses, no withdrawals year 1. So starting year 2, you can take out 5%. Don't touch it, goes to 10 to 15 up to 25%. Once you take a withdrawal, it'll go back to 5% that next year. So any withdrawal resets it back at 5, nothing year 1. Well, let me talk about the bonus here. Here's the bonus. Once again, a lot of clients like a bonus. So if you look at age 65, let's say $100,000, and we did that max bonus product at 25%. Here's what it would look like. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because since there's no fee on our bonus, any reduction or any withdrawal will lower that bonus down some. And I can do a whole webinar on this. I just want to make sure people understand. Let's just say is the worst case scenario. Okay, the index is down. You didn't put them in the fixed account. World War III happens and the market's down forever. They have $100,000. Market tanks, they got $100,000. Think of the bonus as a separate column over here. Year 6, they can actually take out 25% of their balance. Easy math here, $100,000, we take 25,000 out, they got 75 in there. The bonus is reduced by 25% also. So any withdrawal from the account will prorate and reduce the bonus by the same percentage. So in my opinion, don't sell the bonus product if people need to access the money. The bonus product, I had a lady the other day that had someone that had a final expense policy, and they want to transfer the money over to us. I'm like, tell the client that you can give a 25% bonus on his death benefit day 1. And the client liked that. Then you got potential to grow. So I would put the bonus, I would sell the bonus if a client's got money they don't need to touch. They want to get 25% bonus. Maybe they don't know how long they're going to live. Hey, my family doesn't live past 75 usually. Give them the bonus. They might die tomorrow. That's upfront money. It's a full death benefit, but any reduction from any withdrawals will reduce the bonus by the same percentage. And once again, I can do its own presentation on that to make sure it makes sense. Okay, other liquidity options. Once again, we have 5% free withdrawals after year 1, cumulative up to 25. But we also have terminal illness. After year 1, for any of these benefits, you can access 100% for terminal illness. And that includes the bonus. You got 125 in the account, terminal ill, you can pull out 125, no fee, no nothing. Nursing home, 50%. Critical illness. I don't think anyone else does this. If they have cancer, heart attack, stroke, end-stage renal disease, you can access 25% of your account. You know, I know with Medicare Advantage plans, they have an out-of-pocket max of $10,000 sometimes. Well, you can access 25% to offset those cancer costs with our policy. Hopefully you sold them a standalone cancer, heart attack, and stroke plan from us too. Home health care. People don't like going to a nursing home. You stay at home, you meet they can't do the 2 of 6 ADLs. You can get up to 25% per year for 5 years. So that's not a one-time thing, that's 25% per year. Then death benefit, full account value at death, or their spouse can continue. Couple other things. These are some questions we get. You know, what if the market crashes? Well, once again, your principal's protected. Cow in the milk. Hey, we still have your cow. We just lost some milk. We'll have some more milk next year. You know, I don't want a long-term contract. Well, ours is a 10-year product. You might see other companies that have 12, 14, 15, 18 years. Ours is just a 10-year. You know, people go, well, what if I need access to my money? Well, 1, we want to leave them a pile of cash to the side for suitability. 2, you can access 5% up to 25, then all those other options we just went over with you. You know, the returns are low compared to the stock market. Well, we're putting insurance on your money. You know, it's designed to give you a decent return, but without the risk. You know, the market could be up one day, down the next day. You're always stressed out about the market, checking your phone all the time. Oh, am I going to have enough money for retirement? Hey, sleep well at night. We know your money's protected. You won't get any of the losses, but you'll get part of the gains. You know, some people are like, hey, I don't need a guaranteed income stream. You know, they think all annuities are just income. We can give you 5% per year. You can annuitize, but this is really a growth product. It's designed to grow your money steady and protect it from any market losses. So now go write the fee if you guys want to. We have a MIGA, which Justin mentioned. We just raised our rates for the fall here, kind of called the fall kickoff because we're Kansas City Chiefs fans, so don't hate me for that. 3-year 5.25, 5-year 5.65, 7-year 5.75, and the 10 years 5.75. That is a guarantee. So once they sign up, if they get 5.75, they're guaranteed 5.75 for all 10 years of the product. No higher, no lower. That's exactly what they're going to get. So if people want the guarantee, that's the MIGA. If they want higher upside potential, that's when you go the FIA. So another thing that's unique about us is every agency services is here in Kansas City. I've trained a lot of the girls that answer the phones. They're upstairs. No wait time. Kind of already talked about this. Call us up. You can call me. You can text me. We're here to help you out. You can run illustrations from our website. So you guys haven't been to our website. If you have a contract already, we use Brandon Reed's example here. Everyone probably knows him. You click the annuity tab. You can run illustrations and send out contracts right here by these blue buttons at the bottom. You'll have a big blue bar right here if you have our health and not our annuity. It says click for FIA training. You'll watch this quick 17-minute video that I put together. I went to Greece on vacation and they want to make some changes. So now it's an AI girl that talks, but it's a quick 17-minute conversation or video you watch. Then you just click I agree. If you don't click I agree, we don't know you watched it. That's where we timestamp everything on there. So push play, take some notes, join my weekly calls, call up Justin. We'll go over stuff with you one-on-one anytime you want. But you got to do this product training before you can sell. So you have to do that video. And if you're new and if Justin's going to send you a contract right after this, you watch a 3-minute FIA video, 17-minute MAGA video, or I had it backwards, but you watch those 2 videos as part of contract training, and then you're good to go. So you won't have to log in and do it if it's a new contract. And like I said, we're live now. We went live last week. So get contracted, do your product training. I would actually print out an app, test it. You know, if you're new, it's scary. It's not hard to just new. So write an app on yourself. Maybe not write it, but just print one out, pretend you're filling it out just so you walk through the process, you know all the questions. So when you do have an opportunity in front of you, you're ready to go. You know, nobody on this call is going to go to a home tomorrow and they go, oh, I want to do Medicare Advantage. Now you're going to go take your AHIP. No, you're ready to go before you went into the home. So if you think you want to do this, if you think you want to help yourself and protect your client's money, just do this now. Get ready to go. So when the opportunity presents itself, you're ready to go. I think that's about it. So Justin, questions, comments, concerns? I didn't really look at chat. So if there's things I need to answer, happy to go over them.
I'll throw a couple up here, just like one more recent one. Justin Crosby was saying, how does this work when RMDs are higher than 5%? I think I'll just let you answer that. After the first year, I'm sure you do the RMDs or penalty-free withdrawals, or
exactly. After the first year, it's RMD or 5%. So if their RMD, like my grandfather was 95 and his RMD was like 12%. So that's free. That would eat into the principal, but we can give you the full RMD for free with our product after that first year. So have them take that RMD first, then year 2, we can do RMDs monthly, you know, anytime, quarterly, annually, whatever they want.
Another question we had was a couple of state specific ones. We always get these North Carolina and New Jersey. Just didn't know if I think they're just asking if those states are potentially
all the gray states that you saw that we weren't in. We might be in some of those for the health, just for annuities. We're not. We're filing to be in all states but New York right now. So we're actually filing in California, Wisconsin, Michigan, Louisiana, North Carolina, everything but New York. And then we'll randomly get one approved here, one approved there. So we are filing in all the states for life and health. So you'll see our health products there too. All states but New York is the goal. California might take more than a year, but we hopefully are in almost all those states next year.
Let's see. What was? Sorry for me hacking over here. I called something in Miami. Let's see. Is there? I'm trying to think if there was anything. That's a huge deal. Someone asked why foreign bonds.
Why do we invest in bonds?
I guess it said foreign. I didn't hear you say foreign, so I don't know.
No, we do corporate A bonds. We do like the safest bonds possible. So we do bonds because bonds are guaranteed. They're safe. We know the return we're going to get from that, but it's not foreign bonds. It's all just corporate AAA bonds, I think, for the most part.
All right. And what are the year durations for? So like on the FIA, what are the contract periods? Is it mostly 10 or was it?
Right now, it's just the 10-year.
Okay.
Because we filed in the compact, and the compact is in like 45 states. If we file state by state, some states will allow shorter and longer, but a lot of the compact doesn't allow more than 10 years. So we just filed what the compact allows. and we might come out with new variations in different states in the future. But right now, it's just a 10-year product.
And you had 3, 5, and 7 on MIGA, right?
3, 5, 7, and 10.
3,
Our
5, 7.
5 year is 5.65, and that's the hottest product right now. 5 years guaranteed at 5.65. And on the MIGA, you can take out interest after 30 days. So you don't have to wait a year. You can take interest after 30 days, and full account value at death. Those are built into the product. So that's the rate. We don't reduce the rate for any of those. It's 5.65 for 5 years.
Is MIGA approved in some states that the FIA isn't right now?
It'd just be South Carolina and Florida.
Just South Carolina and Florida.
And
Okay.
the fee is there. It should probably be live later on this week in those two states, or maybe the first part of next week. Since there is like 2% different, we've got to build new marketing materials and new apps and new things just to make sure that we show you the differences in those states. So they'll be out here any day now.
And someone asked, this is more of a, I think, just industry question. What is the average annuity size, and what is the I guess target age? I would say target age would be anybody that wants one, but if you had my guess is 50, you're in the 55 to 75 mark is probably pretty hot. But I mean, I've written several annuities for people over 80. So, but anyway, the other one was the average annuity size. Do you know what the average annuity size is?
On our MIGA, our average annuity case is 107,000.
Okay.
I think the FIA will be slightly higher. We've kind of priced our product to be about 125 because the average retirement account's 250, 270. You're looking to take half of that or 70% of that, and the average case is around 125 to 150. My biggest case was $980,000 I wrote on one person. I wrote $800,000 on another person, and I wrote many $5,000 cases. And money's out there. You just got to ask. Like, I've been in trailer homes where people had millions of dollars just because they saved their money, didn't spend it on silly things. So, and when you're doing Medicare Advantage, you might want to ask too, did you receive an inheritance? People are getting kicked off of Medicare or Medicaid all the time because they inherited money. Well, that's a great time because they don't have a stockbroker or someone managing their funds. So make sure you're asking everybody, did you receive an inheritance lately? In addition, do you have a retirement account?
We wrote one time we ran a billboard for the MIGA rate. This is back when it was only 3.3%, and it was a different carrier at the time, obviously, but this was I got a customer off of it. He owned a fast food restaurant in town. First, he brought me like several $50,000 MIGAs that he was in some trail rate. A lot of times too, if somebody already has an annuity, those are the best customers because they'll be in an old annuity that is getting a lower interest rate, and you're trying to get them into a better one. So a lot of times when the annuity gets past the initial period and some of those guarantees are out, some of the carriers will start to renew them at like lower interest rates. So he was in a MIGA that he had been given like 2.7, but now that it was outside the contract period, they were giving him like 1% every year. So, we rolled a few of those. And anyway, over like the next 2 years, he brought me like $1.5 million in all MIGAs, but then he referred his brother to me who did a few FIAs. And then he referred his dad to me who did like another four or 500,000 in MIGAs. So it was just one billboard. So, that's the cool thing about that. And then we ended up writing all of their Medicare too, except the dad was in his 80s and he had TRICARE for life, and him and his wife. But we ended up writing probably 4 Medicare apps off of the brothers and the wives, and then got multiple referrals off of them for years. So anyway, it's a relationship that when you build it, it's built on such a high level of trust that tremendous amounts of referrals come from it. It's easy to get.
And they're thankful. If you protected their money and they saw the stock market tank 6% in a day, I call them up. Hey, you guys didn't lose a penny. Oh, I was worried about that. They forget what sometimes, but they're like, oh, I was worried. I'm like, you don't need to worry about the market again.
This guy was in the market, had a huge dip, and he had removed it all and put it in annuities and CDs with the bank to avoid that. And then I just became one of his annuity rate shoppers. So that he would call me up when he had more money maturing, and he would say, and so there's a lot of these people out there, and it's not like this guy was extravagantly wealthy. He had just had a fast food restaurant and sold it. And then his brother that bought me a bunch was retired from Walmart. and then his dad was a 20-year retired military guy who then worked another corporate job or GS job or something. It's like, but it was millions of dollars in total that they invest or the, put in annuities with us, and they were always happy because they knew exactly what they were after. They were after not losing money. That was what they wanted. So anyway, and it spun off a bunch. It helped me get really used to the application process and all that. But most people, I feel like when they don't do annuities, they're scared to ask that question. They're scared to ask the question you talked about. Where do you park your big money at? That's one I heard somebody ask. Or do you have any old retirement accounts? I love that one because it's and technically there is, if for the extremely rare chance or somebody says I don't want to talk to you about that, which is very rare. It's what most people are afraid of, is that confrontation. But what most people, even if they say that, you can say, well, listen, I'm just making sure I calculate any potential income related monthly adjustment amount. Like, there's a complete justification to knowing what kind of income that they're receiving tied to the Medicare application process anyway. So you could always pivot into that. But it's almost unheard of when we say, hey, do you have any old retirement accounts? They just tell you because they just assume that you need to know. And a lot of times they'll just start talking to you. Oh, do you do that too? Do you help with investments or something? And you can say, of course, we don't respond with, yes, I do investments. We respond with, we can help with index annuities and multi-year guaranteed annuities, which are kind of like insurance on your money. And
Here's what I'd like to say, and we can do a whole series on my sales process. I like to ask people, what'd you do for a living? When you warm up, oh, did you participate in the retirement plan there? Check. Don't ask them how much is in there. Leave it alone. Sell your Medicare, sell your cancer, sell your final expense. As you're packing up to leave, you're like, by the way, Columbo close. Oh, by the way, another thing I do is protect and preserve that retirement account you said you had. Has anyone reviewed that with you? Oh, I can't review it now during this Medicare Advantage one, but I can come back tomorrow and review that with you. Another thing I do is protect and preserve retirement accounts. I don't say annuities. I don't say anything like that. I just protect and preserve retirement accounts. And that's what people are worried about. They're worried about losing money. By the way, another thing I do is protect and preserve retirement accounts. It's that simple.
Yeah. So we had another question pop up here. Can you give me an example of a 25K FIA, what the commission would be? Average, client return. I think it would depend on, what, a lot of things, but then what happens at it in the 10 years. So I'll just take the first part of that is, commission. We're basically looking at on a 25K. Where's my, make sure I'm doing my math right here. Let's see. If they're within the prime age range, you're probably at about a $1,800 commission, something like that. I think I'm doing it right.
Yeah, I had 1750 as my math, and that's upfront. It's not, we don't pay you that over 10 years. You give us the money, we pay you about 7% right up front. You get a one-time deposit, boom. That helps offset leads, this. Imagine if you sold $1 million to one person. That's a nice chunk of change. Client return 4 to 7% average. But once again, their gains are locked in each year. If tech pops, or the bubble pops this year, tech's down, they get a 0. Next year it does 50, they get half of that. They're locked in at 25%. Now they get a 12.5% average for the last 2 years. So we don't know what's going to happen in the future, but their gains are locked in, and the worst case they do is a 0. What happens at the end of the 10-year term? It stays the same. It's kind of like you have a rental lease on a house for a year. Well, after that year, you can still live there. It's kind of month to month. So they could walk away anytime they want after that 10 years, or they leave it in there and it's still indexing, it's still growing, it's still doing everything. It's just not in contract anymore, but they can still keep it there.
Perfect. And at the end of a 10-year term, when an annuity's over, I mean, basically that's the way we look at it internally as distribution, is that's a good time to shop for the next annuity. Like maybe Heartland National has a different annuity at that time, and we try to re-up them into a new contract period. It's new, new commission, new terms, whatever. But that's the way a lot of annuity advisors have been around a long time. They just every year have multiple customers that are maturing, and they're just rewriting new annuities. So, but technically, if you don't do anything, the money would stay in the annuity and it would continue to operate in whatever those ongoing terms are, I would assume. Is that right, Todd?
They just have 100% liquidity at that point in time. It's not under contracts. They could walk away anytime. We're still contractually obliged to do what we told them we're going to do, what's in the contract, but they can leave anytime. So we're still index it, we'll still grow it, we'll still do all that stuff, but they can just leave.
Gotcha. So the 10-year term is really just the surrender charge. It doesn't mean that an annuity is over in 10 years. It just means that they could then leave if they wanted to, but an index annuity. I know with MIGA rates, what we've seen is that a lot of times on a MIGA, after the contract term, when the guarantee rate is not there anymore, they might plummet the rate. But in your guys' case, in an index annuity, you're still participating in the same par rates, cap rates, whatever. So you're not really like a MIGA on the FIA side. It would just
Exactly.
continue.
Our FIA or a MIGA gives you options to cash out 100%, keep it 100% liquid, but probably at a lower rate, kind of like you were talking about your current client, or they could do another contract at a higher rate on the MIGA. With the FIA, it's the same thing. I don't know what bond rates are going to be because we'll have to go buy new bonds. So it might be different bond rates. It's not going to be the 4.5 again because just 10 years from now it's going to be different. But yeah, they can still keep the contract as long as they want. And a lot of people, they buy it once and they leave it there. So clients might park it there for 20, 30 years if they want to, but we might have different products. There could be other companies out there you like better. Who knows? But hopefully you keep it with us. But we don't know what's going to happen in 10 years.
Yeah.
So I said a couple of the options have a 90% participation rate. Yes, those are the volatility controlled indexes. The gold standard is the SP 500 or NASDAQ. So if you want the raw indexes, whatever the index does, you might get 50% of it. If we're using those vol controls, we might give you more of it. So vol controls give you higher PR rates. So don't be tricked and fooled by other insurance companies give you 300%. Well, do you want 300% of one or 50% of 10? Math is math, and the vol controls are designed not to return as much as the SP 500 because they're trying to control the volatility. That's why people like high volatility stocks, because they could have massive gains, could have massive losses too. But with an annuity, though, you're getting zero as your floor. You have the potential for those big gains. The volatility controls are designed to control that. So your gains are a little bit less, so you have a higher participation rate. And just, I'm happy to do a whole webinar and go over indexing and vol controls and stuff like that. But that's why you see some higher numbers in the vol control, because it doesn't cost as much. Think of it this way. I like pizza. I think everyone here probably likes pizza. If you went to your favorite pizza shop in town and you gave them $10 and go, give me a large pizza, they're going to laugh at you. They're going to go, well, my large pizza costs $20. You can have half of it. That's like the SP 500. I can't buy the full SP 500. I can't buy all the NASDAQ. I can only buy half of it. So when the market goes up, the client gets half of it. But let's say you went to CC's Pizza or like Pizza Street. You gave them $10. They might give you 2 pizzas. So imagine that is like your volatility control. It doesn't cost as much. You might get 200% of an index because it's just not quite as good as the SP 500. So that's kind of how you can look at vol controls and indexes there. And like I said, I could talk about that for an hour, but I want to keep this short for you guys.
Yeah. Well, we're going to send out an email to anybody that is wanting contracting. If you already have a Heartland National contract, whether with us or not, you can go in your portal and actually activate the FIA portion of your contract now.
Well, they need to have the MIGA added. So if they have health only, they need an annuity contract. If you have the MIGA, then you can do the FIA there.
Perfect. So make sure you've added the annuity period and then add that. So a lot of you are, on here, I know are with us already on Heartland National. So just make sure you add those because it's a super easy process with Heartland. Their contracting is easy. The submission process is easy. Working with the team is easy. And it's a great way. Like over time, yes, of course, it'll be nice to have multiple carriers for different things that they specialize in, et cetera. But as far as people who aren't writing a lot of annuities right now, this is a great way to get in. 80% of the people you would even come in contact with would fit into one of these annuities, and it would be a great option for them. Maybe 90%. So, for those random other scenarios, we can always start to look past that. But thank you guys for being on here. We appreciate you taking the time. I know it's busy with October 14th, but if you have any questions, of course, you can email us at marketing@bobbybrockinsurance.com, and we will talk to you guys soon.
Awesome. Thanks for having me on here.
Thanks, Todd.